What I love about Lightning, and actually destroys every blockchain thing that is out there with all the crypto bullshit, the more users you have, the better it works. The exchange is gonna take over. The thing is, if you don't do anything, if you stay in the basement, just saying, okay, self-custody or death, that kind of approach would leave a lot of users behind. And guess who's gonna take all the users? Do not send him to self-custody if he's not ready. That's the best way to lose Bitcoin. Nobody knows how to set up a router. Nobody knows what the TCP/IP looks like. Maybe the internet fans. So I think that it's really important for us to just start using all the technology. I love Lightning, and I consider myself a Lightning address maximalist. I want to know how it's going to look like in the future, and I believe that in the future we're not going to be using on-chain like regularly.
Before we get started with all the topics and everything, maybe give the viewers and the listeners some background of who you are and why you're excited about Bitcoin.
Okay, so my name is Seyr Agustin Kassis. I'm trying to just I'm not gonna go to be low key. I'm using Gorilla, this like this kind of thing. If you can find me in Nostr, I've been in the Bitcoin ecosystem since 2013. I'm a software developer. I love open source. I'm just dedicated to Bitcoin all the way. More dedicated in medium of exchange. So I love Lightning, and I consider myself a Lightning address maximalist. I think it's the way that Lightning address I think is best. So I'm push really hard for that, and I want Bitcoin to become a standard. So I try to live as much as I can with Bitcoin. I don't have dollars. I use Bitcoin all the time, and I try to live the hyper Bitcoinization right before that happens, or actually just build a path to reach that.
Super interesting. A Lightning address maximalist. I love that. I use Bitcoin as money, but I don't use Lightning actually because the fees are so low currently. So I do everything on chain because if, for example, I have a freelancer in Colombia who works on the podcast with me, and like El Salvador also, and I transfer them Bitcoin, and it costs me like 70 cents. If I do it on fiat rails, it costs me like 10, 20 euros. So I'm like, Bitcoin is anyways like there's no transaction fee currently. But if the transaction fee would be like, I don't know, 20 euros, I probably would go to Lightning.
Yeah, the thing is, definitely sometimes it's even cheaper to transact. It depends on the amount, but sometimes it's cheaper to transact on chain than it is in Lightning for the fees. Sometimes it is that. It's a point between, I think, 1,000, above 1,000, I think it's better to do it on chain. But what I think is, like, as we are developing all the ecosystem right now, we're switching between on-chain and Lightning. And I think that we are heavy users, and I get that, and I take that decision. But I always think on the normies, on the mainstream. I want to know how it's going to look like in the future. And I believe that in the future, we're not going to be using on-chain like regularly. I think, as I told you, that I want to experience the hyper-Bitcoinization, like how will we use Bitcoin every day. And I experienced a lot in El Salvador that you mentioned it. You can live with Bitcoin every day. You can pay your groceries, go to supermarkets. You can live out of Bitcoin. And I think that Lightning is so natural, so easy, so fast, so cheap, that it looks like, for me, I don't know, but it looks like the final shape of Bitcoin, like you would use it every day. I think on chain, we are early adopters, and we actually know how it is, and we use it, and we know how to use it. But for the rest of the people, I believe that the Lightning is like an Lightning address, for example, that being able to send Bitcoin as you send an email, for example, it's just an email. We couldn't get rid of the email since the 1970s, and it's a way that you can identify a user in the space in internet. Every internet user has an email that it identifies them. So the fact that we have a way to actually have a way to send money, and we actually gonna call it that. It just send me money. Where? Email. Maybe Gmail or any other providers will start to support this kind of thing. If they don't, I'm happy to just fight against them and create a parallel system. but I believe it's the best way to do it, and actually solves a lot of the experience of the UX for Lightning. You know, that sometimes say, oh, I have to create an invoice, and that's not the way we actually send money. We send money pushing money. We don't create an invoice. An invoice, it makes sense for merchants, but it's not the way we actually push money. When we send a transaction, for example, even on chain, you have an address, a destination, and the one who picks where to send and how much is the sender, not the receiver. So there are some things that are coming along with Lightning that I think there are best UX for handling Bitcoin as medium of exchange. I believe on-chain is more suited for store of value. I consider that, I have on-chain for store of value and Lightning for payment or medium of exchange.
How do you look actually at the development that we now sit at, I don't know, 110, 120, I don't even know the Bitcoin price currently, but like over 100K, and the on-chain, the blockchain is basically empty. Like we don't have a lot of traffic there. Like the fees are very low. How do you look at the trend of people using it just to like store wealth and like keep the Bitcoin there and then not really use it as a medium exchange? Because it's interesting. 5 to 10 years ago, people started to use Bitcoin actually as a medium of exchange first. And then they're like, oh yeah, like, okay, actually it's a great store of value, and I just let it sit there. And even me as a podcaster, I needed a long time. Like I think I needed like almost a year of podcasting in Bitcoin till I accepted Bitcoin as a payment. Now most of my income is actually in Bitcoin, and now I deal with it as money, and it's amazing. It's like the best form of money ever. But even me, so deep in the trenches, needed a time to actually go full on the Bitcoin standard. So how do you look at the Bitcoin world kind of being focused on store of value, and kind of medium of exchange is something, it feels like years and years ago in the future?
I get what you mean, and actually, I've been traveling all Latin America, like the States and Europe, and I've seen that first world countries, for example, are really focused on store of value. They are so into that medium of exchange looks like that, like what you're saying, like medium of exchange, like we are not nearly that. Like first, we need to take over store of value, and then we can think about doing that. But I would say that, uh, like I would give you the example of Elon going to Mars, for example. That some people say, hey, why we have a lot of problems on Earth, right? Like, why you just like going to Mars? It would take us 10 years, 20 years, whatever. It's in the future, right? Like, let's focus on this. So the thing is that to be able to do it in 20 years, you need to start somewhere. So the thing is, we need to start building the tools and the infrastructure for us to be able to make it medium of exchange sometime in the future. It would take us some, I don't know how many years, but first we need to develop the tech. We need to build a liquidity. For example, Lightning Network has been around maybe 7 years-ish. At first, we didn't have anything. It's super buggy. We didn't have liquidity. We didn't have channels. We didn't have nodes anywhere. No, the exchanges didn't accept it. So we didn't have any kind of infrastructure. We didn't have the network effect. And I think we need to build the network effect one node at a time, and we need to push for this. And the best way, I think, to do that is to actually use it, explore it, and build a path. There's no way to build Lightning Network without we exploring it. Like the way we can find bugs and the way we can just create new wallets, new infrastructure, new services is by using it. Because otherwise it's gonna, you know what I mean? It's like we can create new liquidity providers, for example, if we don't have any users. And the thing is, again, first world countries usually focus on store of value, which is that's nice, that's rational and makes sense. But for example, in Latin America that I've been traveling, there are focused on medium of exchange, definitely. Definitely, the people use sats. First, there are poor countries, so they are not able to afford even 75 cents for a transaction. It's a lot, and some of them they get sats out of just selling coffee or a sandwich or whatever they do. And for regular transactions, I don't believe that on-chain is the solution. Lightning it goes really well, and it brings a really, as I said, a very good UX, and the people actually start stacking sats, like we always say, stay humble, stack sats. And their way to do this is just receiving sats right away, and actually, it's a very good way to make progressive learning. This is something really important because as we are Bitcoiners, right? We are obsessed with Bitcoin. We think about Bitcoin like at least 10 times a day, right? I can tell. I can tell just for your face. You're a Bitcoiner. Yeah, you're like we are Bitcoiners, right? Like, so we think a lot of that, and I believe that a Bitcoiner is a guy that actually is an activist. Is an activist. So we are activists, and so our tools are not the same for regular people. So regular people that they want to just use it and just pay and experience that and feel and start building the confidence, it's not that foreign. For us, it's friendly because we take hours every day for years to actually understand the technology and feel confident enough to use it. But for regular people, they don't have it. They are not Bitcoiners. I don't call a Bitcoiner someone that actually uses Bitcoin. That's not a Bitcoiner. This is a Bitcoin, maybe a Bitcoin user. But I think that in the future, is the thing I envision all the time, we need to prepare the tools for regular people. And that was going to take years as it took for us to learn internet, right? Nobody knows how to set up a router. Nobody knows what the TCP IP looks like. Maybe the internet fans. So I think that it's really important for us to just start using all the technology, just test it all the time, just and try to bring new devs and just to explore every tools, everything, all the experience of the user, get feedback, and just to find the way to actually become this hyper-Bitcoinized world that we want to live in.
It's those early adopters. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense because like if you want to see a future in 5-10 years, you have to embrace it before it's here, and just waiting for it to be arriving probably still works because there are enough lunatics like us that actually use Bitcoin already as a medium exchange and will drive it therefore anyways. But I think as we are a very special crowd. I think I sometimes say that on the podcast, but we are very small community. We are a very special community, and there are not that many of us. Like literally, I've interviewed probably half of everyone in Bitcoin almost. Like I've interviewed now a lot of people, and it feels like I know like 80% of the people. It's not true. Like I probably only know like 1%, or like under 1%, if you count all the people, that work or are some way in shape or form in Bitcoin. But I've spoken to a lot of people in Bitcoin, and how small that community is, you really get to know once you go to the conferences, because it seems like, oh, there's so many different conferences with like thousands of people. But then you go to those conferences and you meet the same people everywhere. You meet the same people in Las Vegas that you've met in Riga, that you met in Prague, that you met somewhere in El Salvador at a conference. And the point that I was trying to make is like, because we are a very small active community that drives massive change, has a massive impact on the world with kind of overthrowing the financial system. This means that we have a responsibility to educate others, to drive innovation forward, and to build in the space. So nobody has to do everything, but like everybody has can play a small role. Someone might be a core dev. Someone might be someone that has a local meetup. Someone might just orange pill the neighbors and orange pill the family. So everyone has their own little role in that revolution or in that evolution. And I think the more we push the future into the present, the better it is. Like that, like it seems like a very no-brainer thing to do as a Bitcoiner, because I'm very I'm very sure that Bitcoin will reach 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, 200 million. But how this future looks like, it's on us.
Exactly.
Does everyone have self custody, or does everyone have a bank where they hold their Bitcoin? I rather have people in self custody, and you can hold Bitcoin on a bank also. People can be lazy, and because we brought up email before, it's interesting because when I talk to people that lived through the internet evolution, and I'm too young for that, they told me that in the beginning of email, people thought that everyone will run their own email server. Now everything runs through Gmail. Will the same thing happen with Bitcoin and Lightning, where we just use the underlying infrastructure, but nobody really owns anything? I hope not. I'm fighting for that not, but I feel like we have to be an active participant in the network.
Yeah, well, you brought a lot of topics there. Like, for example, I would start with the fact that you're completely right. The fact that everybody thought that internet were gonna be super decentralized, and it's not. It's not right now. You're right. Like, most of the people have their all their content, every communication on top of email or any other kind of centralized service. Most of the people don't run either IMAP or maybe SMTP server for email. So I think I would say something that the technology is not that. That's why I always push for the we need to go for the humans to take. This is the layer zero. Okay, we need to just know that it's not. This is not automatic. This is not that. Oh, the technology is already there. You know, you're like, I get the like the pitch of saying, okay, Bitcoin is I always say this epic phrase, but Bitcoin is like a chemical element, is in the charge. Like, we found it, we discovered it, and that's it. Like, you just let it there, and all the incentives will just run by itself, and that's it. We don't have to do anything, just store it, and that's automatic. I don't believe it's that. We need to fight in every corner, like mining centralization, for example, and even with the internet itself. So for people just pushing for the anonymity, for example, privacy, and they use Tor, for example, you should take care that we have enough Tor relays everywhere. We need to build the infrastructure. We need to find a way to actually make internet decentralized as possible. Even the devices, everything that we use, we need to fight for that, because otherwise we're gonna get scammed. The same happens with the hardware. There are some chips in Intel that actually are able to control all your machine. So some people that think, okay, I'm here, maybe I'm safe, and maybe you aren't. So there are a lot of different attack vectors that you can find. The fact that the my final Bitcoin utopia would be, of course, that everybody would be self-custody. I hope that we have as many people as we can there. I believe there's more like 55% of people that have, like, the users, heavy, hardcore Bitcoin users that actually use the amount of Bitcoin. I hope it is in Bitcoiners' hand. And I hope that stays as big as it can. But I think that in the future, most of the people are gonna run into exchanges. Most of the people, maybe 80% of the people, 90% of the people, will just be using services, third-party services. That's not ideal, but I think it's gonna be the future. Hopefully, we always try to bring as many people as we can off the grid of the system. But the people in the 80%, they gonna do what they can to not to keep the users. You know what I mean? They have to compete with us. It's not that they can do whatever they like. If the exchanges start just taking money out of the people will go into self custody. So it's gonna become some kind of fight all the time. I think that the fact that we have the option already will make them behave. So I think the banks will gonna redesign themselves, and everybody will use Bitcoin eventually and start using sats. But I always push for example, the Lightning address I was mentioning. Everybody can have a domain name. Everybody can run their own email-like service. Actually, with Albi, you can do a lot of things. We're working with them as well. So I think that we should take back the decentralized internet we used to have. There was a point. You remember the time that you actually went into the web and looked for something, and you used to have a lot of different websites. You say, okay, I'm gonna look this, and you ended into a blog or into a pet store, whatever. You have a lot of different options. Now it's all narrow. You always go to the social media, find out there are 5-6 different options. Maybe you got more options now that you have AI and a lot of different tools that you can explore. But the thing is, everything is centralized in the social media. The social media like filter everything. So I think we should go back to restore first domain names, websites, different kind of services, and I think Nostr is a very good tool to use this. Just let's get back into the multiple websites we used to have, and then try to just fight from that perspective. One thing I want to add about this is that if we don't provide tools that are easy for users, if we don't provide a way to make progressive learning for the users, and sometimes sacrificing this kind of some values, for example, self-custody at the beginning, if we don't do that, Binance has 300 million users. Binance. So that thing is going to grow. So, and the exchange is going to take over. So the thing is, if you don't do anything, if you stay in the basement, just saying, okay, self-custody or death, that kind of approach would leave a lot of users behind. And guess who's going to take all the users? So this is dynamic. You need to know that we need to fight to get those users and make them feel comfortable getting in. And then while they're in, you're going to just give and feed them information, as we used to understand Bitcoin as well. A lot of people got into exchange first. So why do we expect newcomers, especially that they are not super fun as we are? As you said, we are not that many. So you expect when you go to a merchant, you expect that merchant to become a Bitcoiner as yourself. You really think that's going to happen? And that's not going to happen. You need to find a way for them to just solve their needs. And the need not right now is Bitcoin is a medium, a payment method. Just go right for the thing that they want. It's a payment method. Then if they are able to accept it as a payment method, then it's going to become a huge opportunity for new Bitcoiners that are going to come to the merchant, buy and pay with Bitcoin, and have conversations with them. And say, hey, are you storing the Bitcoin? No, I just exchange it right away. You should check the price. You should check this thing. You should check that fiat is worth. Like, how much have you paid for this? Have conversations. It's a progress. You will never Bitcoinize a guy if you're able to Bitcoinize a guy. It's just a one conversation. It's not going to last. So you need to do it recurrently with many people talking and having different perspectives for that merchant to actually go to self-custody someday. You know what I mean? It's like we need to make it progressively. You don't go all in to a merchant.
How do you actually see the future adoption of medium of exchange for Bitcoin? I think we spend a lot of time on the channel talking about how we are increasing adoption for store of value, what kind of products and what kind of developments are happening in case of driving the price up. But how does it actually work for the medium of exchange side of things?
Well, for medium of exchange, I could tell that from my travelings, I saw that Latin America is super advanced on this. Like Africa have it as well, but we have some trouble with that. What I think is sometimes, especially in Latin America, people use a lot of USDT, or sometimes they need a way to actually have the unit of account. Because to be able to have medium of exchange, you kind of need a little bit of unit of account, unless you wanna sell it the sats right away. People need to know that it's not gonna go down, that the price that they have is not gonna go down. So that's really important. But from what I've seen is that A lot of wallets are going really well. For people, it's really easy because they don't need any KYC whatsoever. It's really easy, and you get people on board really quick. They use Lightning every day. You can live out of Lightning, definitely. So I think as the price goes up, it creates more awareness, and people are happy to just at least spend a little time to just know what it is. At least just okay, I'm gonna download this wallet. I'm gonna try what you're telling me. Maybe you're right. I don't know. I'm gonna know. And once they try it and they get in super quick, easy, and they say, okay, it wasn't that hard. It took me just 5 seconds. I can use it right away. Then they're gonna start just using, and that's what I'm focused on. Circular economies. Circular economies are like the future glance, you know, like it's seeing, okay, this is what which it should look like. Like everybody would have sats, and they store everything in sats. I don't have US dollars. I store everything. So I live in a beacon standard already. So I think that when they have circular economies, they're gonna feel new users, even though they don't know what a blockchain is. They're gonna be able to say, okay, I have sats here. I have more. If they just compare it, or they have the US dollar value, they're gonna see that, okay, I store sats and I actually get more money, and I can pay and can pay more things. And as the time goes by, they get used to of the sats, and they know, okay, you can price things in sats. In El Salvador, have you been to El Salvador?
Yes, I've been last November actually.
Oh, have you been to Berlin?
Actually, not. I really wanted to make it, but it was so much going on in San Salvador and in El Sonte, and I have just been there like a week. And yeah, I might be there next January, so I might make it to Berlin. But I have had a few people from Bitcoin Berlin already on the show.
Oh, okay. You should come. You should come. It's a little bit complicated to get in because like you have to go like 3 hours ride from the mountains. But then you find this kind of Bitcoin paradise. You know, people can live out of Bitcoin, and there are some places that they actually price in Bitcoin. So you actually say, okay, how much is this? Like this coffee, 5,000 sats. And so I think these are the way we need to be patient and know that if you start building this kind of circular economy thing, and I think the spirit in Berlin is it's greater, I would say, than the thing that happens in El Sonte. People in Berlin, they are massive onboarders, and it's much bigger than El Sonte actually. And I think it's the way we should do it. The problem is that we found that they are centralized their custody in a couple of wallets, and this is something that we've seen, that if we have services, wallet services, for example, when they get big enough, they get KYC'd. If, for example, Strike was really good, like everybody was using there. We used to use it a lot and recommend it here in Argentina. Because Argentina, like the laws are like optional, you know. But what happened is that they put KYC on Strike. So this is a big problem because when you get big enough, they're gonna knock your door and say, hey, yeah, put everything has to be in fiat, everything inside fiat. So I think that maybe the solution would be having multiple options that they are not that big and anybody could create, and the communities themselves, like circular economies, will provide this kind of services for the users, for the people who actually wanna, for the 10 or 20% of people that gonna be outside of the fiat standard. You know, I'm talking about these guys. Like the communities are the ones who actually want to push the users to become self-sovereign, which is not something that all the people is interested in. We shouldn't, like, I always push for as much as I can for everybody to just like wake up. But I think you should spend your time and energy for the people who matter the most. So the people who actually are interested, you know, because sometimes haven't you feel this kind of feeling of discomfort or frustration when you try to, man, wake up, you're being leached. You have a part like what are you doing with the fiat standard? And if they don't want to listen, I think it's a waste of time. So the communities have a lot of concentration of people that are actually willing to be there and learn. And actually, they are the ones who will go to the workshop and try new tools and become like self-sovereign.
It's also, I think, one underrated aspect of Bitcoin adoption, especially as a medium of exchange, might also be the user experience and the UI of everything. When we look back, like 2015, 10 years ago, all the applications for Bitcoin were shit. Nothing really looked good or felt good or was smooth and nice. Even buying Bitcoin was in a lot of places very, very difficult. And now we have all those apps and services and great applications around Bitcoin and in the ecosystem that makes it easy and accessible for everyone. And I think we still have a long ways to go, because how do we get people to spend Bitcoin? You either have to force them, or it has to be a way better experience. For example, PayPal or Apple Pay is just a better experience than like paying with your cash and like sending all those things. So that's how they won. They didn't force anyone to use it, but they had a better user experience. Apple had the ecosystem. PayPal had a convenient way to do it, and they kind of just got themselves into the market as a financial rails because they had a really convenient way of doing things, and they had the ecosystem around them. And Bitcoin has only two ways. They either have to be super, super great. Like it has to be, oh yeah, like this is a pain in the ass in the fiat system, and I do it with Bitcoin. For example, for me, paying people outside of Europe is a pain in the ass. I need all those informations. I'm like, oh, what's your address? Like, what's your this number? What's your that number? What's your this number? And it's a pain in the ass. And you're like hoping it gets through and hoping it gets through very quickly. And for those kind of transfers, Bitcoin already delivers a way better user experience than anything else. But we also have to deliver a way better user experience for buying a coffee. For setting up a Lightning wallet. It has to be like, oh yeah, like I just download that, it's in my Apple wallet, and like I can just spend it with the things that I already use, and it's self-custodial, and it's really nice. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. But I think we need a massively good user experience and just like very clean setups and super easy to use.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm gonna tell you something that's a little bit controversial especially for hardcore Bitcoiners. But some UX sometimes it's meant to protect you, but it's not the best way for onboarding. For example, every time you open an on-chain wallet or a Bitcoin wallet, it always shows you, if you're not create a new wallet, it shows you the seed phrase. So you need to just write down your words and actually then ask you to just please confirm and put something. Maybe ask for 4 words in different positions and to check if you actually did the homework. This destroys onboarding. This destroys onboarding because this is a good way if you're talking to a heavy Bitcoiner, a guy that actually knows what he's doing. And actually, first, he's able to store this. Unless you have someone that is besides him and trying to teach him, some people actually when I want to try a wallet and ask me that, is like I want to try this. You need to allow the users to actually experience the things first. I always go with the same phrase, and I repeat it all the time. We didn't learn internet in a conference, workshop, video, podcast, whatever. We learn internet through experience. And I believe we should do the same with Bitcoin. So you first give them the experience, and then you can teach them about self-custody and the responsibility. Because sending a guy that he's not prepared, he's not ready, do not send him to self-custody if he's not ready. That's the best way to lose Bitcoin. Send someone to just expect him to be an expert Bitcoiner since the beginning. And that's not, I think, That's not the way. I used to do that many times. So the UX, that's why I always try to just push for Lightning first until they just find it. And again, as this is a process, you should never do this alone. You should find people to actually help you, and you just explore, and then you can just find ways to just actually go on chain, because nobody would put their whole savings into Bitcoin the first time they use it. You know what I mean? There are some different tools. Some tools are meant for experts, for people that actually use it and know what they are doing. And then you have tools for different kinds of people. That there are the people that actually are the ones who are going to be the mainstream. So I believe that the experience need an easy way to jump in. You can always have the options. But sometimes I have a lot of arguments with like heavy hardcores that they don't do a lot of onboarding. They say, oh no, use Phoenix the first time. Whenever a new guy comes in, use Phoenix and just make them open channels. Man, he haven't never touched Bitcoin before. So you expect this guy to just pay to open a channel? Have you seen the competition? So we need to know that we need to find a way for them to jump in as easy as possible, and then they go into the rabbit hole progressively. Never forget about this. As we become Bitcoiners progressively. You didn't become Bitcoiner for the first time. You need time. You need experience. You need to talk and meet other people that are good at it and learn from them as well.
The first time I ever made any money, I got myself from that money a watch. And ever since then, I collect timepieces to remember times where I achieved some milestone. That's why I got the Bitcoin 2025 edition when I went to my first ever American Bitcoin conference. So for me, the Bitcoin watches from CoinVigilante represents the time that we are living in. For every person that wears a Bitcoin watch, I know they are representing sound money to the outside world. Make sure to check out those amazing CoinVigilante timepieces down in the descriptions. I love those watches so much. I know how big of a hurdle it can be to have self-custody, but it's so freaking important to make that first step. We have to make sure it's as easy and simple as possible. And that's exactly what BitBox did. BitBox created the simplest and the easiest hardware wallet to use to get into self-custody. So get yourself a BitBox down from the link in the description. And when you use code Robin, you even get a 5% discount. The most important thing for your Bitcoin journey is not buying Bitcoin, but it's how to keep them. And yes, you have maybe the right tools, but how do you actually go ahead and stick it all together so it's the most secure for you personally? Self-custody is a deeply personalized journey, and the Bitcoin way is helping you exactly finding that correct setup for you personally. They are also helping you with securing your own cybersecurity. And if you want to go one step above all that, you can even get a consultation for a Plan B residency. Go to thebitcoinway.com/Robin and you will get a 30-minute free consultation. I want to tell you about something very special to me. It's called Microseed. If you hold your Bitcoin in self-custody, and you should, you know how critical it is to secure your seed phrase. You should not have them on paper. You should not have them on anything else than titanium. With Microseed, you can engrave your 12 or 24 word seed phrase, the entire seed phrase, onto a 1-inch small washer. Yes, just one washer. All 24 words on that one washer. You can hide that thing everywhere. And even better, you don't need to buy a new kit every time you have to get a new wallet. You can make unlimited backups because Microseed is not selling the washer. Microseed is selling the device that stamps the washer. So you get the full kit with the device, with the washers, with the hammer, with everything you need to get started today. And you can make with that unlimited amount of backups. Go now to to microseed.io. Again, that's microseed.io to get your last backup tool you ever need. If you don't understand Bitcoin and you are now entering to be a Bitcoiner, it takes a long time. And I mean, I've seen people going through the journey now faster and faster. Like I needed a year to actually get to a good state with self-custody and all those things, maybe like 1.5 years. And I now see people going through the journey within like a few months where I'm like, oh, like I'm super impressed what they already know, because the content and everything gets better and better. So they fall down the rabbit hole way quicker. If someone is really motivated to learn something and is really consuming a lot of podcasts and books and all those things, and still you need time. Like it's not happening in one evening. It's not happening in one weekend. It's happening over time, slowly and progressively, because most likely they thought very differently about the world before, and especially about the financial world. And Bitcoin is a radical new idea. Also with private key management. Most people before Bitcoin never had to deal with private key, public private key management. That's something only IT security people and nerds did before Bitcoin. Like only a handful of people do that outside of Bitcoiners, and we have to be aware of that. But so my grandma uses WhatsApp, and if my grandma can use WhatsApp, she can use Bitcoin. But we have to give her time. I would never give my grandma Bitcoin in self-custody because I know she will lose it. Like, why would I do that? And if she can learn WhatsApp over time, everyone can also learn Bitcoin, the techniques to it, the self-custody to it. And I'm very bullish on that. It's just, so I think sometimes we are very impatient with the development and we want everything tomorrow. And I'm honestly very shocked how fast we're going. Like if you think about the president talking about Bitcoin in the States, if you think about how many companies are now buying Bitcoin, it's shocking to me how quick we are going to develop all those things, because the store of value is very much needed for it to be a nice medium of exchange.
Yeah, like the I don't mean I should be worried. We should be worried, but the narrative that I think is going on right now is, yeah, of course, store of value is the best, but store of value without self custody. I think that's the people are getting used to that thing. So they say, okay, I'm gonna go into this ETF. I'm gonna just put it in the company. Gonna just multiply it here, or collateralize debts, for example. A lot of people are losing their kind of their Bitcoin ethos, right? Like the so what I want is, what I would like is like the heavy hardcore, the foundation. I would like them to actually push for self custody, 100%. But that would, what I mean by this is, please do not get tempted on doing this, because I think the ethos, or at least the thing that I like the most about Bitcoin, is that I don't wanna negotiate with fiat. You know what I mean? I want to destroy fiat. I want to, like, I don't know if we're gonna be able to just kill that monster, the big boss, but I got into Bitcoin because I want to have censorship resistance. I don't want it to be taken by the corporations or governments. So some people get tempted and say, okay, now we grew up, no, we grew up. Like now we're okay. I'm gonna put everything inside of the system. Yeah, that looks nice, but we're going so fast, and I agree, and I love that, and that's fine. But I think that we should always be careful on what happens next, because it looks like everybody's a friend, but we forget, we kind of forget who's our actual enemy. What I mean by this is, some people treat fiat like if it were like a natural disaster that had occurred like for accident or something like that, but it's actually it's intentional. So it's like what I mean is like you got the bad guys all over. Well, this is their step. They don't want to die. They don't want you to succeed. They will lose a lot of power if Bitcoin becomes a standard, right? So they are in the Bitcoin in the fiat standard. The fiat standard is completely opposite from the Bitcoin standard. So I think we should always look that with skeptic eyes. It's good for numbers, and I love that. I love the price go up. I love it. I love it. But we need to at least Bitcoiners. I mean, heavy Bitcoiners. We always need to be skeptic on this. We always need to know that what happens. That we need to go for the Bitcoiners at least go harder into self custody. Mainstream, just push them progressively. But heavy Bitcoiners, come on, don't fall for that. I would like, I don't know. I think we shouldn't get weaker on that, and the fight's still on, and I think the battle hasn't even started.
I think that's a good way to look at it, because we think about, oh yeah, like they join us, we won and all those things, but I also don't think so. It's when we think about Bitcoin and we think about the implications that fiat has on our world and what Bitcoin will do to fiat, and I very much believe also that fiat will long term not survive Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is just an immaculate power. It is something that you cannot contain, you cannot change it, you cannot put it back. Like it's out, they've missed it, and like there's no way it's going back in. But what you might try is to co-opt it so people are lazy and use their services and they have the Bitcoin. So I think that's the next step, the next fight that we have to fight, where institutions and the fiat system might try, or they're already trying, to hold the Bitcoin themselves and give you an IOU.
Yeah,
so they have the control and you have a paper in your hands that you might own Bitcoin.
That's yeah, definitely. That's something I've seen, for example, in Vegas. I got some like insight from different places. Like I think that from Vegas, from like the Americans, I don't mean every American, but I think that from that, what I've seen, a lot of suit coiners, for example, a lot of suit coiners, a lot, and they don't care about, just like they want everything inside the system, right? They don't care about that. And so sometimes, and I think their narrative is getting big on that aspect. Like as the way we actually win is getting Bitcoin into the system. So we kind of like, you know what I mean, is that we lost. If they take all the Bitcoin or most of the Bitcoin or the powerful from Bitcoin, because you're gonna have exchanges, and if you're gonna get from Bitcoiners, heavy Bitcoiners, they're gonna just sacrifice their self custody to put it into that and change it for the IOU. You turn it into what happened with gold again. So it's I think we need to go back to the grassroots movements. That's what I really love. Ions like German community. I think they have the values really good. I think they are like us. I think that we need to go back to the communities and fight for that, because sometimes it looks like if you go to huge conferences, it looks like Bitcoin is that. Like this is the complete representation of Bitcoin, right? And they say, okay, this is the biggest, right? It's the biggest. So the Bitcoin movement might be here, Vegas, with all these huge things. And it's not like that. I think that Europe got it right. I've been in Barcelona, Cypherpunk's conference. I love how they do. There are more Cypherpunks. I've been to Prague as well. I saw you there as well. Like Prague, I think it's really good. They go in the right way. And I think the communities are the ones who actually need to have more voice. They are the ones who actually use the stuff. They don't treat Bitcoin as I always give this example. I always put this difference. Like there's a difference between a Bitcoiner and a BTC investor. So the Bitcoiner activist and the BTC investor is just a guy that doesn't matter if where it is. So say he just numbers go up. It's like someone that actually buys the Apple stock but never has an iPhone. Never gets to use the actual product. He just like bets for the stock and waits for it to just sell. He wants to sell. We don't want to sell, man. We want that to just like we want the thing you're comparing right now, you're pricing in your stock. We want that out. We want it out. So I think we need to go a little bit to grassroots. We need that.
I very much agree with that. And those Wall Street guys, if you see what they're doing, they don't care what they trade. They don't care about even the unit. They're like, oh, I bought today at 4 and sold it at 6. Oh, what did you buy? Like, I don't have a clue. How much did you buy? Yeah, 4. Like what unit? Like 4, like that. So they only care about like the profits, and they are in a fiat denominated world. And it's interesting when those guys come to Bitcoin, because it changes the dynamic, and the price is an reflection of supply and demand. And the supply is always the same with Bitcoin. So it's only about the demand. What's the demand coming in and what's the demand going out? And the demand was set before 2020 just by blabs. Like before 2020, institutions were not really involved. Big companies did not really care. Even like bigger investors did not really care. They all came right around 2020 to now. So before that, the whole ecosystem was very different. And now corporations come in. Strategy, MetaPlanet, Semler Scientific. We have, I just talked on the episode before yesterday with Daniel Prince, and he said that the Bitcoin treasury companies are the new shitcoins. I agree and disagree a little bit. There are treasury companies that fulfill a purpose and a service for the community, but there's a lot of other treasury companies also out there, and I just saw like there's a whole bunch of treasury companies out there. I was researching with him. Oh, what's the latest Bitcoin treasury companies? Yeah, it was just 16 hours ago. So there's almost every day now a new treasury company coming up. It's a little bit like in the ICO time in 2017.
17. Yeah.
That it's crazy what's going on. So this can change Bitcoin from the outside world. But what did not change, and what hopefully will never change, is the hardcore Bitcoin crowd that drives the Bitcoin narrative and that drives the development of Bitcoin. And I think that's very, very important.
Yeah, definitely. How many treasury are there? Are you tracking all of them? Yeah, they're multiplying.
I don't track them because there are almost 200 now.
200.
So yeah, we are really getting more and more. I mean, there's a difference. So there's Bitcoin treasury companies that just buy Bitcoin. Nothing wrong with that. Like I have my podcasting business. I buy Bitcoin. Like I'm Bitcoin standard, and my podcasting business is on a Bitcoin standard. That's also a Bitcoin treasury company, if you will. So, but then there's Bitcoin treasury companies that do fiat games on top of just holding Bitcoin. Those are less, but they're getting more and more.
What do? They just like lend.
They basically raise money to buy Bitcoin.
Okay.
They issue bonds, they raise money. And again, there's nothing wrong with that per se. So for example, I always make that example with, for example, Strategy. They have great pipes where they anchor in the bond market. They get into all those different fixed incomes market, equity market, and put locked capital, so capital that doesn't flow into Bitcoin in self-custody because they literally cannot. But they then develop a product for that, so they can invest in that product, and that product then invests in Bitcoin. The same thing that strategy itself was. A lot of people couldn't invest in Bitcoin, but they could invest in strategy. And they're like, hey, strategy is kind of like Bitcoin. So if I cannot invest in Bitcoin, I just invest in strategy. So there's some service where those treasury companies are getting capital that couldn't flow directly into Bitcoin to them, and they then invest directly into Bitcoin. I realize that's a service, that's something that is net beneficial for the Bitcoin community. But how many players are doing that? I think there's a space for maybe one, maybe three, or maybe four players, but we have tens of them, maybe soon hundreds of them. If it continues that way, we probably have next year or the year after that 1,000, and then I think it's just it's we will. And I talked with a lot of people on that. I think I talked with James Jack and many other really great minds into Bitcoin, and they think that most of the treasury companies will burn themselves because there isn't such a big space for so many different treasury companies that all do the same thing. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure about it. I'm not a financial genius. I just buy and hold Bitcoin. But what I see reminds me a little bit of the ICO time that we lived through in 2017.
No, the thing is that they have to hold. They have to hold. What would happen if it goes down? Maybe some of them have better strategy, but if they all jump in a treasury and when Bitcoin gets up, I think we need to go higher than this. But definitely when it gets a rebound and goes down, what are they gonna do? They're gonna sell. They're gonna panic sell somehow, right? Because it's if they just jump in because it's I know what you mean. It looks like an ICO when everybody wants to put blockchain in their name. Actually, they rebranded that, and a lot of people were doing a lot of things that started a bubble and exploded. I totally agree. I think that if a lot of players are gonna jump in, most of them gonna disappear. And strategy, I think, is gonna stay there. Like that serious ones, we're gonna survive. And I think it's the process of being institutionalized. We need to try these things out. The people who actually do not know what they're talking about, or just treat Bitcoin as it were again like a stock or something like that they don't get it. I think Michael Saylor completely gets it. He wants to get as many Bitcoin as possible. So those are the players who are gonna survive. The people who actually treat it as just a bet or something, or just a way to get money out really quick, they're gonna be lost in the market. For those, I would say that it's like the natural way. Like if I would imagine Bitcoin succeeding. Of course, business is gonna have treasury on this. I guess I'm not complaining about that. I think it's the natural way of being, right? Some people were complaining, oh no, I don't want the states to just have a reserve, a strategic reserve. So what did you expect, man? Like, of course it's gonna happen. Like it would happen someday, right? It's like a digital gold. What did you think it gonna happen? But I would say that I want people to actually be aware of this, and please do not at least I'm talking about hardcore Bitcoiners. I would say that I have different pitch. I have a different pitch for different people. I would say the Bitcoiners, please stay away for this. This is my suggestion. Like I would like them to just be self-custody. For the rest of the people that they are, I don't know, they are exploring, and sometimes as people say, do not engage in Bitcoin and don't put anything in Bitcoin before making your own research. I agree in some part of it, but sometimes you can put $100 into it, and the fact that you have skin in the game, it makes you make the research. Know what I mean? It's like once you put a little bit and have skin in the game, I'm pretty sure you're gonna have the interest enough to make your own research with more passion, with more interest, more curiosity. So what do you think about that?
It's something that I sometimes even like just transfer people a few satoshis just for them to have it in the app. And it's interesting because you have friends and you're like, a year ago, you meet them and you're like, hey, let me send you some sats. And you send them sats and like, oh yeah, like I sent you $20. And then you come back a year later and they have completely forgotten about the app. They completely forgot about everything. But then I asked them, oh, like, do you still have the Bitcoin? And he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, like, oh yeah, like it's still at 35 bucks. And I'm like, oh, I only gave you 20. And he's like, wait, what? Okay, but like that's not that much. Yeah, like that's a lot. Imagine you would not do that with 20 bucks, but imagine you did it with all your money. And then imagine that I live on that money and you live on that dollar money. And then I was like, oh yeah, oh. So like the number go up technology, the way that Bitcoin works, that's still the best marketing. So having skin in the game is not just a great tool to orange pill people because they've put something in there. And if you can convince them to just put something in there themselves, it's even better. Like sending people Satoshis is sometimes not that efficient because it's not their money and they don't view it as that. So the best case is if they take their own $20 and invest it in Bitcoin. So you can, I don't know, you, for example, if you go out with friends and you ordered some pizzas and you pay him with Satoshis for the pizza. That's amazing because then it's his own money he spent on the pizza and you gave him back in Satoshis. And things like that you can do because then people have a wallet, they have skin in the game, and then they're like, oh yeah, like I have this Bitcoin thing now. Like, okay, maybe I should research it. Maybe I should do something with it. And once those 35 bucks, maybe we get 50 bucks or 60 bucks. You're like, oh wow, like it keeps growing. And it's a long game. Like, I needed 3 years from first hearing about Bitcoin to buying it. 3 years. I waited from hearing about it versus buying it, and then another year to go all in. So from zero to all in, it took me 4 years. It's a very long time. I could have stacked so many more Bitcoin, but people need time, and this is the thing that always everyone says. We have now digital social media, we have podcasting, we have so many better informations. But the brain is still the same thing. Like we need time to process those informations. And I think the orange pilling is getting faster, but it's still a long process. And I 100% agree with you. Like it takes time.
I agree with the fact that you're telling that. That's really good that you pointed that out. I used to give away sets for free just to people. Oh yeah, I have it, and just like I sometimes I do it just to make a point or something to just like download something. But I totally agree that the fact that sometimes you give away things, they internally they just don't appreciate enough. They just say, "Oh, if you can give it away for free, maybe it doesn't cost anything, right?" So it doesn't. You give me some fake things, fake stats or whatever. They make it real when there's some proof of work. When there's like, okay, so you need to. I think you need to wait. That's why I think the merchants are the ones that they get onboarded once they experience pretty much when they give away a product in exchange, and I say, okay, I give away something that I used to have for money. I used to receive fiat for this, and now I receive sats. So they start making the equivalent and say, okay, so this is money, right? So somebody actually paid for me for this. And when they actually pay for somebody else, like in a circular economy or something, they start to just think, oh, this is money. So this is money. It works like money that actually gets more valuable over time, which is something weird, right? Because we are used to inflation, especially in Latin America. So I do believe that, yeah, one of the ways I'm gonna push really hard, especially in Latin America, that we're giving away 10 nodes. We are educating communities. So we want the communities to educate their users. So giving away 10 nodes, 15 POSs, cards, everything for them to explore, have their own. We want the communities to be able to run their own software and hardware. So I think that we always need to know that nodes needs to keep running. Every Bitcoiner needs to run their own node. I think that makes you a Bitcoiner because, and one thing about Lightning Network, why do I push so hard on that? The fact that you have to run your own node, it's a very good reason for you to just take care of your node. If you only have a node, on-chain node, for example, do you have anything out? Just like, okay, I'm running a node. Whenever something, the power goes off, like maybe you have a problem with the hard drive, whatever happens there, I heard so many times the same story about Bitcoiners. They go, oh yeah, I was running one, but then the dust came in. I don't know, well, like whatever. I lost the cable, just broke. Whatever happens, and they don't care about just running the node because like they don't need it. But once you actually use it for Lightning and you start using your channels and start, maybe you run a Nostr relay, maybe you're like, I really trust on the Bitcoiner of the family. I believe that as Bitcoin, as you said at the beginning, Bitcoiners are rare. We don't spawn that often. It's not that a spawn, like a Bitcoiner spawns in the society, maybe one out of 200,000. I don't know how the spawn rate. I think if you have a lot of inflation, the spawn rate is bigger, maybe, because it's like out of survival mode. But I think that what's going to happen is that some Bitcoiners will going to be the Bitcoiner of the family, and you're going to take care of your friends, family, and they're going to say, okay, can I, like, are you going to take care of them? Like self custody on chain, of course, and for medium of exchange, they're going to have your hardware run by people in a community, in people who actually trust. Hopefully, that's the future I would like to have. Like, we get responsible with the things that we already do that with our family. I believe that you haven't, you couldn't orange pill your family, right? Have you been able to orange pill your family?
What do you mean with orange pill? Like they're safe in Bitcoin, but they are not Bitcoin lunatics like me. So like there's a difference there.
They are BTC investors, but they actually believe in you. They are like, they trust you.
Exactly. Yeah. Like so they get Bitcoin. It depends also, like I have a huge family, but it depends on who you speak. I got the closer the people are to me, the more they get Bitcoin and the more they have Bitcoin. That's kind of my experience overall. But yeah, in general, it's hard to orange pill your family. It's just, for me, it's, I think, a little bit of a special place because I'm so much about Bitcoin, and I'm so much about Bitcoin also with the podcast, and I'm so open about it that people actually come to me in the family all the time and like ask me things about Bitcoin. So I don't even have to orange pill them. They, like, the people like closest to me just come to me with questions, and then like I slowly just explain to them things. And I did not even orange pill my girlfriend. She orange pilled herself with just being around me with Bitcoiners, and now she saves everything in Bitcoin, and she knows all the words. Like, she is so deep into the Bitcoin community because she reads my tweets, she listens to a podcast here and there, and she got orange pilled just by being in the Bitcoin environment. Sometimes she's with me at conferences, she's speaking with Bitcoiners there, and just her being around Bitcoiners orange pilled her over now 2 years. And that's what I think we have to do. We have to be the Bitcoin presence for other people, so they have a chance to actually learn the Bitcoin ecosystem.
Whenever someone comes in, the other day, I met a Bitcoiner, and he said, "Oh well, unfortunately, I couldn't orange pin my girlfriend. We've been together for 7 years," and I'm sorry.
That's sad.
I'm sorry. I can't help to judge you because like, what are you doing, man? Like, you could, like, what happened? You or your girlfriend? Because like, I would say that if you're super lunatic, if you're an activist, a Bitcoiner that actually thinks of Bitcoin and have it 10 times every day, all the time, and think about it and talk about it and always find a way to actually get Bitcoin into the conversation. If you're that kind of guy, well, maybe your girlfriend doesn't care about what you think, what you feel, what's your passion actually, right? It's like, how can you 7 years? So you should find another girlfriend. No, yeah, like a super extreme. But what I mean is like, it's super important, right? It's your passion. So
Yeah, but it's a fair point. Like if you are a Bitcoin lunatic and your girlfriend still doesn't get it after 7 years, it might be. I mean, I'm cautious of saying that, but there might be something wrong with either you, your girlfriend, or with the relationship.
Actually,
But
yeah.
it can take time. But 7 years seems very long. Like it took me with my girlfriend like 1.5 years for her to really like get it, and she slowly got warmed up to the idea and like got it over time. And she's still not like where I am, obviously. But she is ahead of like 99.99% of people. And she really is saving every month all the money in Bitcoin. Like
Oh,
everything she has, like she is super hardcore with that now. And it motivated her to save money. Before she did not save money. She literally started saving money just because of Bitcoin, because now she has hope. Now she has like, oh, I can save money. And before she did not get why to save money. Now she gets why to save money.
no time preference. No time
It,
preference is fine.
and it's so beautiful to see that in a person. It's so beautiful to see that in a person that you love. You're like, oh, I love that person. The person loves me. And you go with her through that journey of lowering the time preference and getting the vision and getting the hope and getting like, it's beautiful. And people keep asking me because I bring up my girlfriend here and there quite a lot because I'm obsessed with her. But I will bring her to the podcast once, maybe if I reach like 1,000 episodes, something like that. But not anytime soon because I got some questions, so I wanted to get that out of the way.
Have you brought her to the conferences? Has she been there?
Yeah, she has been. She was in Prague with me. She was even at the party after Prague with me there. So that was fun.
Okay, have you been in contact with the Einundsbansic community? Have you been there?
Oh yeah, of course. Like I'm going to a meetup here locally in Vienna. Not that often, but like every third month or something like that. I'm there. It's super fun. I don't take her there because they are usually like 99% guys.
No, but the Citadel, but there were some pictures. There were women there as well. No,
Not in Vienna. I mean, there are. I think like last time I saw 2 out of 20, which is not bad. But like, there is a women's group, Les Femmes Orange, in Munich. But Munich is like a 4-hour ride from our home, or 5 hour. I don't know. It's quite some time to go there. So, but I wanna. There is some conference for women in, I think, close to Munich, and I want to get her there. And she is getting more and more curious. She even started reading the big print of Larry Lepar and the Bitcoin Standard. So she really gets it more and more. And I'm super proud because I know how far away she was from Bitcoin when she started dating me. And now to see her not only taking an interest in being open, because she was always open, she was always interested in it. She's a very curious person, so she always was asking a lot of questions. But now she really gets it. She's like, oh yeah. And the thing that I love about her, she was always, even before she met me, very much against the government. So
that's the seed. That's the seed you need. And curiosity.
exactly. But I have one more question for you. Do you think Lightning is at the point where Bitcoin is, where it's unavailable and Lightning is the way to go, and there will never be a better second layer?
A very good question. Like, I see Lightning so organic. Like it looks like the bank system that they usually have with the clearing system. That actually every bank, every 24 hours, they actually make the clearing. Sometimes they go checks on whatever they clear every day. We have that with channels as well. So it looks like the way we actually found it with the private banks. So it looks like organic for me, and actually. It goes really well with on-chain. It doesn't require any kind of like third-party that actually does that. I think that federations, it looks like federations are going on as well. Like, for example, Liquid is something that is going really, really good. I think Lightning Network came here to stay, and it's growing, and actually show us that all the vision of having a lot of channels, a lot of liquidity going on, is actually something that you can actually use now. But maybe 6 years ago, it was super buggy. It still has bugs right now, but actually it's a really good way as well to get paid of having Bitcoin. You can stack Bitcoin in Lightning. You can provide liquidity. You can get fees out of routing. So it's a really good way to actually put your Bitcoin to work in a trustless manner, and actually make it work for the ecosystem. Because what I love about Lightning, and actually destroys every blockchain thing that is out there with all the crypto bullshit, is that Lightning is incredible. Like, the more users you have, the better it works, which is insane. Like, in blockchain, whatever, even with Liquid that uses blockchain, it's like, no, the more users you get, like, fees go high, like, it works like shit. You can scale. And with Lightning, it looks like, okay, you find a way to actually scale as much as you want and make it better, more efficient, faster, and affordable. So I don't see anything that can beat that. I'm hopefully we can find a better solution. But for me, it's like it's the present and the future.
I love that. Man, that's I'm super excited to talk with you. You have such a, and it's hard to explain because I've talked with so many people. You have an extremely positive aura around you. I love that. So I just wanted to maybe one more question. What do you think is the secret to your positive energy? Like, why do you have like that natural shine around you?
Well, thank you. I think it's the mate. No, I mean, I think I wasn't like this before. Before, like, to be honest, in the COVID times, or before Millet, actually, I was super sad because of my country. I was super embarrassed of my country. I was having a very hard time. I was angry all the time, and then we won the World Cup. That lifted my mood a little bit, and then Millet came along, and it was I said, okay, not because of just him, because of the fact that our people, I love my country, so the fact that my people, the people who I'm sharing this democracy, are just want to change and want to grow and want to raise our standards, actually make myself proud of my country. And like, I'm happy of living here. I'm happy of just experiencing something that is like, I was so sad about here. I was happy about Bitcoin, but unhappy about my passion, my other passion, which is my country, the place I live in. And now I have both. Like, I have, like, my country is going, is rising, and Bitcoin is growing as well. So it's like, I'm happy about that. And uh, I can just hang my flag with pride. I know in Germany you can't hang your own German flag. I know that. When I been there, I saw that there's you can't do that, and I think that's it. That's it. I think that things are turning along really well. Bitcoin is my purpose. I feel that Bitcoin is like, since like the more time has passed by, it's my ikigai actually, and the fact that like it's growing and the thing is happening, it makes me feel, I don't know, empowered.
Love it. I have one question for every returning guest or repeating guest that have been on already. And the question is, what have you learned outside of Bitcoin since your last appearance?
Well, I'm gonna tell you that I've been trying a hell ton of AI tools. Hell, a hell. My productivity has like 10x. I'm a developer, and right now with Vibe coding and just using different kind of tools, I'm able to work like four guys at the same time. It's crazy. It's crazy. The AI is turning into something. I would suggest everybody that there are a couple of people that think that, oh no, it's like a fad or something. You should start using it because it's really powerful for editing, for anything you do. Like now you can create art, like programming, like emails or narrating or writing or whatever you do. There's a tool that actually is growing, and actually, if you wait a month, there's another tool better than the other one. So it's increasing. Please just like take a look on that because your productivity will skyrocket. And if you don't do that, you're gonna stay behind. Definitely.
I 100% agree, man. I use AI so much for the podcast, for my life, for my businesses, for everything that I do in life. And it accelerates literally everything I do. And makes it better. And it's it's literally everything. It's like an executive assistant. It's like a doctor. It's like a copywriter. It's like a video editor. Like it literally can and will do everything with some limitations. And the same thing that Google brought to us, and the same thing that Bitcoin brought to us, the same thing that fire, the wheel, the printing press got to us.
Yeah.
AI and Bitcoin is the same thing. It will accelerate those people who use it and will make those people who use it in the best possible way more powerful and better in society. And those who say, oh, it's a fad, oh, I don't like it, they will be left behind. The same thing for Bitcoin, the internet, AI, and whatever. Like it's very clear to see.
Yeah. You can stack sats, and maybe you can just take it as you're gonna survive. You stack sats, of course, but you're gonna stay way off behind. Like, for example, sometimes I have meetings, and in the meetings, everybody comes with their own bot. Have you seen that? Everybody just jump in and like have a Google Meet and put the bot there, transcribes everything, and that's gonna happen. Like maybe next month, they're gonna just start interacting and bring you things, and they give you bullet points. And sometimes what is happening right now is that you got a meeting with 3 or 4 people, and some people send their bot and they are not even there. So it's going to happen that we're going to clone ourselves with bots. So that's happening. I'm not talking about 5 years. I'm talking about a couple of months. So you're going to train yourself and just have meetings everywhere and just make them autonomous and train them to just do your stuff. So people are going to multiply themselves. It's crazy. It's crazy. I should take a look on that because this is no fad. This is definitely something, and I agree with you. It's like a wheel or something. It's like, I would say it's Bitcoin level. It's definitely Bitcoin level. So we should take care of that.
And I have one more question, the end routine question, as you know, where the previous guest is asking you a question. The previous guest asking a question for the next guest without knowing who the next guest actually is. And the previous guest asked you the question, if you had one more orange pill to give, who would you give it to?
Oh, okay. Oh, I would give it to Millet. I would give it to Millet. I would open his mouth and you put it. Or put it from behind. Now I need this motherfucker. Just please. It's the only guy is missing. I need him to be Bitcoiner. Yeah, I would definitely do it with him.
I love that, man. It's a lot of fun talking with you. I always appreciate that. Before I let you go, where can people find you, ask you questions, and reach out to you?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Just where people can find you, where people can reach out to you.
You can find me. You can see Agustin Kassis if you have it in the video. You can send it. You can find me on Twitter. I'm a Nostr as well. Probably a Nostr because I speak English in Nostr. Spanish for Twitter. Or you can look for La Crypta as well.
Awesome. Then thank you so much, Agustin, for being on. And also thank you so much for everyone that is watching and listening, for joining us today. As always, I'll be back tomorrow with another episode. Bye-bye. This content is for educational and entertainment purposes only and does not constitute financial advice.